I
maybe.
wonder what decisions I could get you to make if I gave you hundreds of millions of
Well,
dollars.
me, you cannot control my decisions with money.
The blind spots that Lex Fridman has, I'm trying to be nice, but like he's so ridiculous in this clip, and you'll see for yourself. But I clipped out part of this, and you'll sort of see the build up into this conversation. Let me just let this clip play out, and then I will highlight for you at the end the ridiculousness of Lex Fridman in this clip. So here we go.
But why couldn't he pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Putin, I need you to call the Ayatollah for me and tell him, hey, you'd like to see him lift these sunsets too, and this and that." Why? Because they framed him for treason, so he was completely unable to engage in real diplomacy with Russia. And I bet that he'd agree with me on that one too.
So
Lex, actually, could I just say one thing interesting? And again, I think it's going to be a later topic, and so it's going to be a provocative statement, but I think let's put it on the table. I absolutely agree with Scott. I mean, I think it was a travesty that the accusations against Donald Trump as a Russian agent. I mean, completely debunked, but I think it paralyzed his presidency for two and a half years. I agree with Scott. The idea that you would accuse the president of the United States of being a foreign agent for Vladimir Putin, I think is unfounded. And I thought at the time disgraceful, and I thought it was really important. I think Scott did really good work in debunking that. I would say that just a couple of days ago, I was watching a podcast Scott was on, and he accused Trump of being an agent for Netanyahu and the Israeli government. So I think, again, the accusations that the president of the United States is a foreign agent for some foreign government, I think we should just put all of that aside in any discussion and just say President Trump makes his own decisions, whether we agree with them or agree with them. But he's not working for the FSB and he's not working for Mossad. President Trump makes his own decisions based on American national security.
No, I was making a point. That's hyperbole making a point, but he did. In fact, could you Google this for me? Because I always forget exactly how many hundreds of millions of dollars that he took from Sheldon Adelson and Miriam Adelson.
Who are Americans, by the way.
Who are Americans, who Sheldon Adelson said his only regret in life is that he served in the American army instead of the IDF, and said America should nuke Iran in order to get them to give up their nuclear weapons. He said, I have one issue, Israel. And they gave Trump hundreds of millions of dollars over 3 campaigns. That's not just a geez. I really hope you'll think of me in the future.
Scott, first of all, a couple of things. So one, there's a lot of people that are friends with Trump and try to gain influence. I believe that Trump is an American, is making his own decisions. Let's, for the purpose of this conversation, just focus on that and see what are the right decisions and what are the wrong decisions. And maybe,
I wonder what decisions I could get you to make if I gave you hundreds of millions of dollars.
Well, me personally, you couldn't give me it doesn't matter.
I couldn't even get you. I couldn't get you to drop in on a vert ramp or nothing for $100 million.
Nothing. You cannot control my decisions with money.
It's the American system, Lex. That's how it works. It's money.
I appreciate
right?
That. Yeah. We can go down that
route. It's the same if we were talking about Archer Daniels Midland Company throwing hundreds of millions of dollars around. They get policies based on their hundreds of millions of dollars. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? All that.
So, Lex, I think you're right. I mean, I think Elon Musk spent, $400 million to helping Trump get elected. And obviously, there are a number of philanthropists. I think clearly his son, Don Jr., has had a lot of influence in who gets selected in these positions in the Pentagon, NSC. I think Tucker Carlson has had a lot of influence. So I think, as you say, he surrounds himself with people who have certain ideas, ideologies, policies. The president makes his own decisions. I just want to touch on just one thing, because I don't want to leave this alone. Just out of respect for the victims of Iran-backed terrorism and hostage-taking and assassinations since 1979. This is the regime that took hostages in 79, took our diplomats hostage. Scott says, 83 was really the only thing that happened, and throws out a lot of information, certainly some pretty breathtaking accusations that somehow the Israelis knew about this and didn't tell the Americans. And
it's a Mossad officer's accusation.
Yeah.
Victor Ostrovsky is his name.
Yeah, I know exactly who he is, and he's been widely discredited.
Let me just stop here, because as I was watching this, you couldn't hear, but I gasped when just the sheer, like, it borders on insanity. And I don't really quite know how to describe it, but this is one of the reasons why I don't listen to Lex Fridman. Just is it the naivete, the ignorance, the stupidity, I don't know. I don't even know what to call it. But when he stops Scott Horton in the middle of making his point, when he's about to expose the most obvious thing in the world, which is you have and exposing the whole, corrupt political system. You have people that are donating hundreds of millions of dollars to a president, and then on the other end of it, they're getting exactly the policy outcomes that they want. What else are you going to look at? What else are you going? I mean, and it's just exactly what it is. And then for Lex Fridman to say, well, you can donate me, as much money as you want, and it's not going to change my opinion. Well, okay, well maybe you're unique, or maybe subconsciously you're getting influenced, or maybe you just don't realize it, or maybe you're just not, maybe you are different. Who knows? But like you're not like any or all of these other people. Of course they're getting influenced. Of course, senators, our Congress people, the presidents, all these people who are tied up with all this influence and all these donor money and all this thing. That's why the system at its core is so rotten and so broken, is exactly this. This is why the people are so frustrated. This is exactly what's happening. And for you to brush it off like that is just it completely destroys your credibility. It makes you it's so obviously you're just so obviously like ridiculous. So anyway, I just found that moment interesting. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are on that. And yeah, we'll leave it at that.